All right, it is all done. The dust has settled. Misfits Boxing, KSI versus Tommy Fury. Dillon Danis, the dildo, versus Logan Paul. It's all over, okay? First of all, quick thought. KSI said this was a robbery. Said it's an absolute robbery. And he's right. I agree. This was one of the worst robberies we have ever seen in combat sports. Yeah. Because everyone that paid 20 quid and anyone that bought a ticket, they all deserve to get their money back. They paid for a night of action. They paid for boxing. And what they got was an absolute shit show. So yeah, it was a robbery. One of the worst robberies I've ever seen. If you bought a ticket, put your appeal in right now because you got a pretty good chance of getting it. You've got a better chance than what KSI has of getting an appeal on that fight. My God, right, where do we start? First of all, I will say the build-up, the hype, the trash talk and all the rest of it, the press conferences, they were gold. There was some very, very fun stuff. Dillon Danis smacking him with a microphone and cutting his cheek. John Fury flipping the table. Back in the early days, Logan coming out with a cake and all the rest of it. That was all fun. That was all great. It got a little bit personal. The stuff with Dillon Danis and all the rest of it and Nina and all that stuff. Whatever. It got very personal, got very dark, lawsuits involved, all the rest of it. The point I'm making is that was more entertaining than the actual product on the night. It really was. Simple as that. So let's start with the co-main event of the evening. Dillon Danis versus Logan Paul. Fair play to Logan Paul. Listen, I'm not a straight-up hater. You know, I've got nothing against any of them, in fact. Logan turned up and attempted to box his man. Dillon Danis is not a boxer. He's not a striker. I've said it many times. I'll say it one more. He couldn't box his way out of a wet paper bag if his life depended on it. And he didn't do that tonight. He walked around. He was like this most of the time. He was shelling up most of the time, just trying to wear out Logan Paul. That was the theory of one Ariel Hawani, the fight expert. Just messing Ariel. Yeah, that was his theory. The reality is, Dillon doesn't know what he's doing, you know. Logan looked all right. He's big, he's athletic, he's fit, he's in his prime. He's a good athlete. He really is. You can see that from the WWE stuff. You can see that in the fights and the boxing matches that he's had so far and even against Floyd Mayweather. And it was kind of a similar kind of performance, to be honest, kind of teeing off, really going for the knockout. Dillon didn't do much. He threw the odd shot here and there, and it was an embarrassment. You know, I guess he showed up. I guess he got paid. Might be able to pay off the lawsuit. But then it all hit the fan, didn't it? In round 6, round 5, Logan went out, he destroyed him, beat him every single round, wasn't even close. Round 6, Dillon Danis, of course, went to grappling, tried a double leg first of all, then tried like a front headlock choke and went down to the ground. Referee steps in, everyone else jumps in, security gets in there, Jake Paul's in there, all shit, hits the fan, it all goes off, it kicks off, it goes mental, and that's that. Dillon Danis disqualified. They went to the judges' scorecards. Logan had won every single round anyway, so that was a mere formality. So, Dillon Danis, I've got nothing against the guy. I'm sure he's all right. I've never met him. I've never had a face-to-face conversation. But he should be banned from the sport of boxing. He should have his license, if he did have one, taken away. One and done for that guy. Logan Paul, apparently his manager said that he wants him to be done with boxing as well. That was an embarrassment. It really was to be involved. He's a wealthy man. He's got a lot going for him. He's got the YouTube stuff. He's got the wrestling stuff. And God knows what else he's into. He doesn't need that. He doesn't need to lower himself to get involved with that stuff. So if I was him, I would steer clear. Okay. Now, let's get to the main event, guys. First of all, KSI rocks up in a Ferrari. Okay. We know you got a few quid, mate. We know you got a few quid. Tommy Fury walks out to Thriller. I think it was Thriller. And, you know, a bunch of girls doing stupid, like, you know, zombie dances and stuff. It's like, what the fuck? Jeez Louise. It makes you appreciate the UFC and the way they do it. Just straight up regular sports. That's what people want to see. Now, I get it. There's a younger crowd, a way younger demographic that might like that kind of stuff. And it's all entertainment, I guess, at the end of the day. But the real entertainment should be the fight. But the fight was terrible. The fight was non-existent, and that wasn't Tommy Fury's fault, if I'm honest. KSI thought he was like Prince Nassim Hamid out there, bouncing around, arms down, all the rest of it, trying to dive in, right? And he did connect a couple of times, but most of the time he would dive in and they would just fall into a clinch like a couple of amateurs. And then from there, we were treated to a series of, you know, little amateur punches, rabbit punches to the body and so on and so forth. Tommy Fury connected with the back of the head a few times, actually ended up getting a point taken off as well. But even still, after all that extensive grappling that we saw, let me tell you, I was just commentating the UFC. The main event was Edson Barboza taking on Super Sadiq Youssef. Two world-class strikers, two mixed martial artists. We saw more grappling in the boxing event than what we did in the UFC event tonight. Because why? Because it was just awful. Because they can't really box. Now, to be fair, Tommy Fury can box, but it takes two to tango, okay? And the way KSI was jumping in, well, it's inevitable that you're going to fall into a clinch. When it was all said and done, they went the distance, and Tommy Fury won on points. And I thought he was quite graceful. He said, listen, I'm done with this, and I don't blame him. He's the brother of Tyson Fury, okay? And he had a good line. He said, listen, there's only one Tyson Fury. I'm trying to forge my own path, something like that. And he should now, because he's raised his profile even more. Of course, he got the victory over Jake Paul. Now he's got the victory over KSI. And he's got a legit boxing pedigree, okay? He should use this, use the platform that he has, use the star status that he has, use the money that he has, and now go on and try and go for real boxers, okay? With his brother, the contacts there, the management, and the skills and the DNA and the genetics that he has, he can go on a legit run, okay? And that's what he should really try and do. And he said he's done with all of this. KSI sadly wasn't quite as graceful in defeat, called it a robbery straight away. The reality is, when it's a fight like that, when it's that much of a shit show, when there's that little real technique on display, you can't be upset, okay? And when it goes to the judges' scorecards, when nobody gets knocked out, and the majority of the bout, you're engaged in a clinch, and you're just kind of having little rabbit shots like that, you can't call that a robbery. And I know I made a stupid joke about it being a robbery for the fans, and it kind of was, let's be honest. But I'm sure the younger demographic there had a great night out. There was a lot of theatrics. There was people coming to the ring in Lamborghinis. There was dancing. There was all the rest of it. There was shit shows, right? That's what they went for. They're not here to see high-level, world-class boxing. They came for some entertainment, a little bit of escapism. I think, if they came to see the equivalent of Canelo Alvarez, they're going to be sorely disappointed. But if they came for a spectacle, bit of a circus and a bit of entertainment, well then, in that sense, it was a success. So congrats to all of them involved. KSI, it was a robbery. The fans were robbed once more. But a lot of people were not happy. I was looking online, and we've got the reaction of some of the professionals from the mixed martial arts world. I went online and look at this. There's what we saw. Here's Billy Quarantillo. I don't know much about KSI or what he does, but I see him everywhere, so now I'm tuned into this main event. Could have saved yourself some time, to be fair. Aljamain Sterling, you mean to tell me that I should have been doing jumping jacks? I've been training wrong the whole time. I think he's referring to KSI and the antics and the Prince Nazim Hamed impression he was doing. Here's Jorge Masvidal, game-bred fighter. This is a disgrace to boxing. Absolutely right. It really was a disgrace to boxing. And you know what? Ringside, there was a lot of great boxers there. There was a lot of legit world-class talent there. I can only... Eddie Hearn, one of the biggest promoters in the game, he's there. I can only imagine what is going through their mind. What are they thinking? But still, I digress. Let's continue. Billy Quarantillo is back. These guys are both way better than Dillon and Logan. Billy's been kind of complimentary. Derek Brunson, he says, watching this KSI versus Fury fight, KSI has some good speed. Observe it now. Sean O'Malley, I'd rather watch John Fury fight. Oh, no. I'd rather watch John Fury watch the fight than watch the fight. That's actually a pretty funny one. Shout out Sugar Sean O'Malley and Billy Q's back. These fights suck. UFC's way better. That's right. He went into it. Billy Q went into it with good intentions. Went into it with good intentions, and after a bit, he's like, oh my God, fuck this. I'm out. I'm done. And then he's good old Arnold Allen. Madness. Haha. Madness is absolutely right. An absolute shit show would be a better summary. Nobody got hurt. They're all young men. Go on, live your lives. But please, please, please do not pollute the sport of boxing any further. Okay? I guess it's good to raise the awareness of boxing, but I don't think any of the young people watching that are then going to be converted into legit boxing fans. When I looked at the press conference the other day, the people that were sitting there, they're all like 13, 14 years old because they look up to these guys, these YouTubers, and they put them on a pedestal. Tommy Fury, I wish him all the best. KSI, you're a great athlete. You're very charismatic. You're successful. All the best to you. And that's about it. Dillon Danis, go back and crawl under whatever rock you come from. I have nothing against him. Good luck in the lawsuit as well. Hopefully, now that the fight's done, and maybe he stops posting pictures. Hopefully that dissipates. Hopefully that goes away. Hopefully Logan's girlfriend, fiance, drops the lawsuit, because nobody wants to see that. But there it is, guys. Misfits Boxing is in the bag. What did you think? What was your favourite performance of the night? What was the fight of the night? What was performance of the night? I'll tell you what, speaking of night, I'm going to say good night. I drove into Vegas this morning. I commentated some real fights for the UFC. Then I just drove home. I just watched it as I had a quick little drink, a little nightcap before I went to bed. And I got to say, I was thoroughly entertained. Maybe for all the wrong reasons. Anyway, I'll leave you with that. You guys take care. All the best. Subscribe. Ring the bell. I'll see you soon.